said, yes. And she said, that was the best landing I ever had.
So cute. That's not in the book.
But anyway, they wanted me to tell the story about when they were bringing the P-51 Mustangs out of California. They set the plane in the hangar and they run it for 1 hour just to check and see if they had any oil leaks or anything. And then a woman pilot would fly it from California to Irene, Georgia. Now these were the first aircraft that they had flown, the P-51s, and they were so much faster than anticipated that when they were approaching the tower at Irene, Georgia, the woman pilot asked for clearance to land, and the tower was silent. And the woman pilot was getting a little bit upset. She said, "Permission to land." And the control tower operator, in a very gruff voice, said, "Lady, if you get off the air, we have 2 P-51 Mustangs coming from California." And with the gruffest voice that she could muster up, she said, "We're the P-51 Mustangs preparing to land."
Isn't that the neatest story?
So anyway, when they did land, it was in the evening, and Irene, Georgia had what they call a blue law. Now these ladies, they had a uniform of just slacks and a white shirt. And so when they went into Irene, Georgia, they went to one of the favorite steakhouses. And they were abruptly thrown out because they were in slacks. And it was after 7 o'clock. And so they were thrown out on the street. And when they got out on the street, the sheriff abruptly picked them up and put both of them in jail.
Isn't that the
And it was 2:30 in the morning
Oh my.
when they finally got word from their commanding general that these 2 ladies were women aviators.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that so
What, Bill, when was that? Like, what time frame? What years, time frame?
42.
That was probably in 42.
40s? 42? Okay.
Yeah.
And you were the 2 ladies playing the flying plane? No?
That's a story that Bill read in one of my books.
They give me, or Jackie loaned me 3 books on women aviators. And it was just one story after another of how they had to deal with the problems that they had in the women's service. And so, see, they weren't even acknowledged as being part of a government unit at that time. When one of the women,
Civil service.
you were civil service, but you were not part of the armed service. And so when one of the women crashed in a P-38 Lightning that went into a spin, they was unable to bring it out of it. She was one of the best pilots that they had. But they had a hydraulic failure in the aircraft. And they didn't even give a flag for the casket. And they actually had to take up, they had to take up contributions among themselves in order to bury her.
Isn't that terrible?
Horrible,
Tragic?
horrible.
So you can see why Bill wanted to make sure that they got recognition, and so we're starting with us.
Of that. And this is the news they send us every quarterly. They send us with pictures of the girls that were lost when they died. There's 167 left living. And this has been taken over. There's nobody to run it anymore, so the Texas University has taken over
Oh, awesome.
the archives and museum.
What does the WASP stand for again? Women Air Special.
Women's Air Force, one word. Women's is one word, Air Force, one word. Service pilots.
Service pilots. Okay, service pilots. Thank you. Thank you.
So they actually delivered the aircraft from the factory to wherever the men were going to pick it up.
Can I tell a funny one?
You tell one.
Oh, Jackie, yes, and say it nice and loud. You
Maybe
listen
I
up.
don't wanna. Well, we delivered planes to New Orleans from the East Coast, and they they gave us quarters in a hotel in New Orleans for women in the bridal suite. Then we finally caught the train, and the first car that pulled through had some senior officers in the plane, about 4 or 5, but it was a whole car. And the next train we were put on, and we went in, got up, and landed. The train was crowded. There wasn't a place for anybody. 2 of the men got up and gave women, these were Army officers and enlisted men and everything else in the service going to the East Coast to get the boats to go overseas to fight. There were 4 of us. 2 men got up and gave them their seats. 2 other men got up and said, "Now you can sit on the edge of my seat, but that's all I've got. You'll both have to use it." So later, it got on a little bit later. The other 2 of us got kind of tired.
I guess so, sitting on the edge of his seat.
So what we did was we sat down on the floor, laid down on the floor, and we used our parachutes as pillows. And we rode all the way from New Orleans like that to the East Coast.
Wow.
So, can you imagine yourself laying on the floor of a train with your parachute as a pillow? We did all sorts of things. And we were supposed to have an officer title, but we never got that.
Oh, bless your heart. Well, now tell them about the Medal of Honor, because see, most of them never heard of it and didn't get to see it.
Well,
Because that was just recently, 09, right?
yeah. Jackie received her Congressional Medal of Honor in 2009.
Can you imagine that?
Her granddaughter went to Congress and accepted the medal. And all those years, nobody really stood up and fought for him there with that.
And Jackie brought it with her tonight so that everybody could see it if you care to see it. Don't you, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes.
So if anybody would like to see it that hasn't seen it, she'll be glad to show it to them.
I never saw a Congressional Medal of Honor.
Well, I had not either. She got my attention when she asked me. She said, have you ever seen a Congressional Medal of Honor? She lived next door to me. And I said, no, I never have. And she said, would you like to see mine? I said, yes, I would.
She said, Jackie, you said you did not receive an award, but let me tell you something, Jackie. You're going to receive a reward, both of you, and you're going to receive crowns.
Yep.
You're going to receive crowns.
Oh, yeah.
You are.
Crowns,
You are. You are going to receive
You get to
special
heaven, you're gonna
awards.
receive crowns.
Yes, you are.
For being the wonderful ladies
Yes,
that
you
you
are.
are and the sacrifices that you've made.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You've received the Lord Jesus, and there's nothing better in the whole world.
That's right, receiving the Lord Jesus. And, you know, this all came about. Abundant Life Ministries is our church. And recently we had a campaign that was called kind of like a Billy Graham campaign, but I mean, Billy Graham wasn't there and he wasn't doing it. It was the people in the church that did it. And they opened their homes, and lots of people opened their homes, and lots of people came. Well, Jackie and Irene, Bill went, can I tell them this? Bill went.
You're doing a pretty good job.
What if you'd have said no?
It wouldn't have mattered.
I
And so anyway, Bill went next door, and he told them, like a good doobie from Abundant Life Ministries, that he had a video and he wanted them to come to his house and see it, and that, or he wanted to show it to them, and maybe he could even show it there. And they said, well, what's wrong with right now? And so he got the video and he showed it to them on the spot, and they prayed the prayer. And it was just a wonderful experience, and so then he came to church and told about it, and of course he and his wife always referred to them as the girls because the girls lived next door. So he just started telling us all about, the girls, and of course we didn't know who the girls were.
No, we didn't know who the girls were.
But one day he took me over to meet him, and then I found out who the girls were.